If you're a home buyer looking to buy a home in Southern California and you like free money, then this video is for you. I was actually just made aware of a grant that ranges anywhere between $20,000 and $50,000 for home buyers looking to purchase a home in Southern California. Now, the really cool thing about this grant is that the money can be used for a down payment, it can be used for closing costs, or it can be used to buy down the rate. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is probably too good to be true, right? And the answer is no, not exactly. There are some requirements that you have to meet, which we're going to talk about in today's video. But if I'm being honest, this is the best grant program that I've ever come across. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into in today's video. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why a grant? Why are people giving away free money? Why would a bank do that? Now, the reason that most banks do this is it's somehow tied to their business goals and their broader strategic interests, if you will, which is basically meeting community reinvestment obligations. So they're more or less required to do so many loans for people buying in certain areas, which generally means they're required to help so many out that are buying in low to moderate neighborhoods, which we're going to talk a little bit more about as we dive into the guidelines of this program. But with that said, the main benefit of this program is to make homeownership more accessible. But with that, let's talk about the key benefits. The key benefits here are they allow a low down payment, so you don't need some huge down payment in order to qualify for this grant. One of the other key benefits is that there's no mortgage insurance. Even if you're putting less than 20% down using this program, there's no mortgage insurance at all. Now, mortgage insurance is typically required when you put less than 20% down because it's insurance for the lender in case you end up defaulting on the loan. Because you put less than 20% down, you're essentially a higher risk for the lender in most cases. But because of the type of program that we're doing here, there is no mortgage insurance at all, which effectively means a lower overall monthly payment compared to any other program out there. On top of that, you're getting free money. But here's the thing, there are some county-specific income limits. Now, you're gonna be surprised with how high these income limits are, but there are some restrictions there. But with that said, this is not just for first-time homebuyers. You can be a buyer buying another home, but here's the thing, you can't currently own another property. So if you're a first-time home buyer, you're automatically good. If you currently own a home, then unfortunately, you're not going to be able to use this grant. So you're probably wondering, okay, what are the guidelines? Do I meet them? Well, let's talk about down payment first. You need at least 5% of your own money down towards the down payment in order to qualify for this grant. So if you're coming in and you have less than 5% down, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to do this grant. But if you're somebody that has 10, 15, 20, 30, 40% down, you can still put that money down towards your down payment and get the grant. Now, depending on where you're buying in Southern California is going to dictate how much that grant is actually for. Los Angeles County actually gives the most towards the grant program. So if you're buying in Los Angeles County, it's $50,000 that they're giving towards your down payment, towards closing costs, towards buying down the rate, whatever you want to do with that money. They're giving you $50,000. And understand, this is a grant. This is money that does not need to be paid back. It's not put as a second lien on your loan or anything like that. It is free money. Now, if you're buying a home in LA County and the home has a 50% combined Black and Hispanic population, then the home qualifies for a $50,000 grant. Now, that's only available in Los Angeles County. So it has to have more than 50% Black and Hispanic population in that area, and you get $50,000. But if the home is located in Los Angeles, Ventura, Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino, San Diego counties, and it's within a census tract with a minority population greater than 50%, then the property will qualify for a $20,000 grant. So the majority of Los Angeles County is probably going to be closer to that $50,000 grant, whereas the other counties, the max is going to be $20,000. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, how do you find which properties qualify, which properties don't? I actually have a list of these properties. I've done the work to go through and figure out which properties actually meet the program and which properties don't. So if you're somebody looking to buy a home and you're interested in this grant, make sure you check that link in the description of this video because I have that list available and my team is here ready to help guide you through this program. Now, in addition to that, it can be used on a 1 to 4 unit property as long as it falls within that census tract. On top of that, you have to have a minimum credit score of 660. So if your credit score is below 660, unfortunately, you're not going to qualify for this grant. So 660 and above, you're good to go. And that means for both borrowers. And if you have two borrowers on the loan, the minimum credit score for either borrower cannot be below 660. In addition to that, you're going to have income limits. Now, the income limits are much higher than anything I've ever seen, but this is going to be combined household income, which I'll actually throw here on the screen. But for Los Angeles County, it's $294,600. So if you make less than that, then you qualify based on the income. And for Orange County, $387,000. Whereas Riverside and San Bernardino counties are a little bit less at $292,500, with Ventura having to be less than $376,800. And lastly, San Diego, you can't make more than $358,500. Now, I know what you're saying. You're probably going, Jeb, this sounds way too good to be true. And if I'm being honest, it does sound too good to be true. But fortunately, I know the person at the bank that's doing this loan, and they're actually closing quite a bit of them. So not only is it real, I know people that are actually getting this done. But there is one more requirement, and it's loan limit. Now, depending on which county you're located in, will determine what the max loan amount is. But if you're buying in Los Angeles or Orange County, your loan amount cannot exceed $1,149,825. And in Ventura County, it cannot exceed $954,500. Whereas in Riverside and San Bernardino counties, the limit is quite a bit less, coming in at $766,550. So you can't have a loan amount more than that if you're in San Bernardino or Riverside. Whereas San Diego comes in a little bit higher at $1,006,250. So for the most part, I think most people will probably fall in those guidelines unless you're in San Bernardino or Riverside, which limits how much you can actually finance. But overall, this is a really good opportunity because if you were going to buy one of these properties anyway, it's just free money. Now, in some cases, this might actually enable you to purchase a little bit more home or give you the money for the closing costs and or down payment that you didn't have, which essentially accomplishes their goal of making homeownership more accessible. So it does exactly that by giving people this money. Now, I know what you're thinking. How much money is there? How long is this going to last? And unfortunately, I don't have the answers to this. Based on my conversations with the lender, there seems to be enough money there that this is probably going to last for a couple of months, but I wouldn't bank on this lasting the entire year of 2025. Essentially, this money is going to run out at some point because if we're being honest, the bank can't afford to just give free money away forever. Now, that's not a push to get you to go out and buy a home, but if you're already in the process, this is something I would definitely look into because, again, it's free money. It could allow you to save some of your own money or in some cases buy down the rate for a lower monthly payment and ultimately qualify for more home. Now, something to keep in mind here is borrowers can only use this once every 36 months. So you can't use it this year, sell the home, and go do it again if the program's still available. In addition to that, there is required homeownership counseling if you decide to use this program. Most grants, most down payment assistance have some sort of education that they want people to go through, and this program is no different, but it doesn't cost you anything to do it, and ultimately you're the one benefiting from the grant money anyway. Now, one thing I've been told about this program is that the debt to income requirements are going to be pretty strict and hard, whereas FHA, conventional, sometimes you can push past the basic debt to income requirements and get a little bit further here. My understanding with this program is it's going to be pretty strict. Now, I don't know what the number is. You're going to have to go through them to determine whether or not you qualify. So if you're someone that's interested in this program at all, do me a favor and reach out to me directly using that referral link. I'll put you in touch with the lender. You can have that conversation. Assuming you're approved, my team and I can actually help you go out and find the property based off this list that we have because we know all of the properties that qualify on this. We don't have to go research every single property to see if it qualifies. We already have the list that shows which properties meet this guideline. And every time a new property comes on the market that meets this, we're updating that list. So you'll know exactly which homes qualify so that you're not out there wasting your time searching through a bunch of properties that don't meet the guidelines. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's probably not a lot of properties that qualify them to actually meet the grant. It's just a grant out there and no properties actually meet it. Well, that's not the case. As I said, we have a list that we're constantly updating of the properties that actually meet these census tracts. And depending on which county you're looking to buy in will dictate how many properties are available. But if you're looking to buy in LA County, for example, there's over 6,900 properties as of today that meet this program. Whereas Riverside has 3,956, San Bernardino has over 1,500, Ventura County only has 199 at the moment, whereas San Diego has over 1,200 homes that meet this program. And lastly, Orange County has over 800 properties that qualify for this $20,000 grant. So there's a lot of potential properties out there that meet the guidelines. It just depends on where you're looking. But with that, I want to recap the program really quickly just so that you know exactly what you're getting into. It requires at least a 5% down payment. The grant can be used towards down payment, can be used towards closing costs, or it can be used to buy down the rate. You need a minimum credit score of 660. The income requirements are based on county, and we mentioned those earlier in the video. Loan limits are also based on the county, which I mentioned earlier in the video. But to give you a general idea of what the interest rates look like, remember there's no mortgage insurance, which is a positive, but to give you an idea of what the interest rates look on this program, they're very, very good. As of today, 30-year fixed mortgage for somebody with really good credit putting a large down payment down is somewhere around 7%. Well, if you're putting 20% down or more on this program, the interest rate today is 6.3. And if you're somebody only putting 5% down, the interest rate today is 6.625. So it's 3/8 to 3/4% better than where interest rates are today on just conventional loans. So if you're somebody that's buying a house in Southern California anyway, it's worth checking out because again, it is free money. Now I know some of you are going to have questions, so reach out to me directly. But if you found any value in today's video, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up. And if you're a first-time home buyer, somebody looking to buy a home and you like education like this, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. And the last thing I'll say is if I can be of assistance to helping guide you through this program and helping you buy your first home, do me a favor and reach out. I'd love the opportunity to help.